What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Moose. New year, new look for the podcast. We'll get into that in a little bit. Of course, we've got last week's Wildcard weekend review and picks to go over. We've got this week's picks for the NFL divisional playoffs. And, of course, the $10 parlay and the Moose's monster teaser all coming at you. Let's hit that intro.
10
dollars
sports.
Hope you're having a great evening. It's episode 16 of the podcast. Welcome to $10 Sports, your amateur sports gambling advice. Coming to you live from the $10 Sports Cave, and of course, part of our new network, kind of a little bit of rebranding. Before you go into that, let's bring in the co-host. As always, he's here. He's wearing his fedora. It's MRod. MRod, how's it going tonight?
Hey, it's going pretty good. Rocking my fedora as usual. Pretty excited to go over this sports. We got 3 weeks after Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So our fun football parlays are coming to an end, but let's enjoy what we have here, and let's go ahead and get this show started on the road. As everyone can see, we do have new Twitter names as well. I got really tired of every episode of Moose having to say about 2 or 3 times.
Hey guys, balls, bruise, brawl. I had every combination, and I'm like, just find Mike, and then of course that $10 sports really kind of. And again, I'm gonna leave it to you, marketing director. It was all Emrod's idea. And I love what you've done. I love what you've done. So I'm going to let you take it away.
We decided to go ahead and make it a little bit more easier to find. We do have a few podcasts up there, as our followers would know, and you listen to many different ones. We were rolling with Balls, Brews, and Bros as our main name, but we actually decided to change it here to the Sports Heap. If anybody knows the definition of heap, Moose, enlighten us on what heap means.
Sure. Heap is just a big collection of stuff, right? Like a heap of podcasts, a heap of vlogs. So I think it's just very, very appropriate, especially as we grow. We're talking to a couple of our friends that are interested in podcasting and kind of bringing them under our umbrella as we continue to grow. So we're excited to bring you the Sports Heap, collection of all sorts of information. And then let me bring up the graphics so just in case you don't know how large the Sports Heap is. Mike, take us through what we have here.
All right, as those who know, during our football season, specifically Buccaneer season, we had the Bucking Hangover, which usually featured me and Moose crying or sometimes smiling throughout the season, but usually complaining about Jameis Winston. And there's at least 30 times we complained. We won't get too far into that.
I mean, some of us complained. Some of us complained. I mostly defended him, but go on.
And then we have Balls, Brews, and Bros. I'm not sure we've done too often yet. It's probably be done more here now. We don't have football or the Buccaneers to really cover, and we'll probably be limited down on how much $10 sports we do. So hopefully we'll pick up some Balls, Brews, and Bros. It's just a general show. Me and Moose drinking beer, talking about sports, some hot topics, and some random stuff. We'll keep you informed what our topics are. Tune in so you know what we are talking about. $10 Sports, as you're watching right now, it's our amateur sports betting show. We have the Thunderdome Puckcast, which is a hockey, specifically Lightning podcast. It's actually a solo project that Moose does. So those of you who like hockey, specifically the Lightning, you would definitely enjoy that podcast. Moose does a very good job of covering the Lightning, and his knowledge in hockey is pretty incredible. The only things I know about hockey is goal, penalty box, and line change.
Line changes. Don't forget the line changes.
Are the only things I really know. And the soon-to-be coming out, which we're very excited about, is the Viper's Nest, which is a podcast specifically for Tampa Bay Vipers. We are looking forward to jumping early on this and perhaps possibly being the official podcast of the Vipers. So we're here on a roller coaster ride with the Vipers. We're getting to know them, getting to know the roster. And the season starts. I actually got season tickets for the Vipers, so I'm actually a season ticket holder, which I'm pretty excited about as well.
You're a founder. I think you're a founder.
Yeah, I'm a season ticket founder. So I'm one of the original season ticket holders slash founders for the team. Hopefully this is longer than the AAF, and I'll be here for around for a few years, so I can
Yeah, but
one day.
mostly for podcasting purposes as well. This could be a 6 episode podcast.
Absolutely, and I can hopefully pass on my season tickets to my son one day.
Wouldn't that be nice? A season ticket waiting list for the Vipers and not the Buccaneers. I can see that happening.
And Moose, yeah, take over and go over our Twitter, our new names,
yeah,
logos, and whatnot.
Yeah, and right below, of course, you got our new logos. So you'll see the Sports Heap, which is now the official name of the YouTube channel. So you can search the Sports Heap. Should be able to find us. And then, of
Can
course,
you do the same for for all the different podcast networks too?
yeah, you can do the same. Search them by name. Should be able to find them on YouTube. Thunderdome Podcast, I believe, is in the final stages of being finalized for iTunes. For some reason, they take forever to get approval. You can find it on Spotify, however, should have been approved for there. So you can search for Thunderdome Podcast. Should be in the first 10 podcasts that you find. There's a lot of Thunderdome podcasts that are related to heavy metal and movies, which I found odd, but just keep scrolling. You'll find the Thunderdome podcast. Bucking Hangover's on there, and $10 Sports is on there as well. We hope to have Viper's Nest up there by next week. Should be recording our first episode soon, so make sure you are in the know for that. And then, of course, just to close out, our rebrand right below the Sports Heap logo and the Sports Moose, which coincides with our new Twitter handle. Is a little bit easier to find us. And you'll see right below us Moose at Moose_TSH for the Sports Heap. And then, of course, MRod is at MRod_TSH. A little bit easier to find us and more personal as well. Now, that I'm not real. It was kind of odd that we were both basically representing one of our shows. So now it's more personally direct link to us if you want to follow us on Twitter. With all that being said, we talked about our podcast available on Spotify, Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio. Episode 16, really excited about that. Probably get to about 18 or 19 before the season comes to an end. And like Emrod mentioned, we'll likely slow it down a bit, maybe once every 2 weeks. We'll do some basketball and hockey news and maybe some of our hot picks for basketball and hockey as those seasons get into the home stretch. So with that, we're finally ready to review last week's picks. A couple of surprises. We've got Emrod's picks up. I'm going to let you go first, as we usually do, Emrod.
Yep, I went ahead and, as you can see, I chose the Patriots here. Being in Foxborough, I know they had a little bit of struggles ending the season with a couple losses to the Texans. Struggled a little bit against the Bills there, and so I mean everyone talking about it's weak, how they've been weak. They've been relying on defense. Tom Brady, who has been struggling, kind of people saying it's the end for Brady. So I really thought, being playing against Titans, kind of just got to realize that Tannehill is the real deal, and he's not the Tannehill that we're used to. So I thought Brady, usually when Brady gets in situations like that, he plays his best, and he ended the game the same way Jameis Winston ended the last game of our season, and that was with a pick six, which was very shocking to me. I really thought this was a game the Patriots were going to make a statement and prove, like, hey, we're not done and we're not bad. We are the Patriots here in Gillette Stadium. Go ahead, Moose.
So, yeah, I was saying, I mean, would you say that it really was Tannehill playing like a brand new Tannehill? I mean, I'd probably say that before this game and just to make the playoffs for the Titans, but really, it was a Derrick Henry show.
Definitely.
The Patriots had no answer for Derrick Henry, and I mean, they just really struggled against the Titans' defense. I mean, it was really surprising to see the Titans. I mean, they're probably in the bottom half of the NFL in terms of total defense, and Brady looked bad. I mean, he looked his age.
I mean, he did look bad. He did look his age, but at the same time, Brady just doesn't have weapons that he's used to having. A Gronkowski. He doesn't. I mean, he had Edelman there, but outside of Edelman, his just weapons were very different, weren't the same. I think next year they'll make some moves to get like an AJ Green, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if they got like an OJ Howard or something like that, just to give Brady a couple more options there on the at the at the receiving end, which I think he definitely needs. So I don't think it's over for Brady yet. I just think some weapons are definitely due for him, and he will be successful again. If he's there again, the Patriots will definitely still be contenders. So I'm not too worried about it.
And that's what I was going to say. Is your pick that he stays with the Patriots? I know we were going back and forth, and you had sent me the latest Vegas odds, which was the top team. I think
That was actually Cleveland, believe it or
the
not.
Browns were the
Yeah,
top
because
odds for the of course with the rumor of Josh McDaniels basically being the only choice left for the Browns to interview. Everyone has been gobbled up, other than someone if the Browns went with some off the wall kind of crazy pick, but really
like they did
it's
last year.
right, yeah, with Freddie Kitchens, which everyone knew from the beginning was going to be a disaster. Just not personable, not able to face the media, and he struggled all year. He struggled all year coaching and questionable decisions. So if it's Josh McDaniels that goes, wouldn't that be interesting to have Tom Brady there? But I mean, you have your franchise guy. I mean, your guy is Baker Mayfield. Why bring Tom Brady in?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess give Baker Mayfield time to mature and get some learning from Tom Brady. But I mean, if it's Tom Brady, I mean, don't matter who the starting quarterback is. You could put him in a back seat and let Tom Brady lead your franchise, build the fan base, and bring the media attention to your team once.
Yeah, that'll be
And then,
a nice vintage jersey, just like the Joe Montana Chiefs.
yeah, for sure. And then I picked the Seahawks, just like I said last week. I think this was like a big gift from Vegas. Got Seahawks -2.5 against a Philadelphia team that has not shown anything all year. Beat some weak teams, and basically struggled the entire season. They really did not have any like good wins or anything that you can say, hey, they look good, in my opinion. So this was a pretty good gift, even though they played better than I thought. I mean, Philadelphia's defense losing Carson Wentz early and losing Miles Sanders, basically having Josh McCown as quarterback the whole game, kept the game pretty close.
Wasn't this his
Uh,
first playoff game?
Josh McCown,
I think this was his
probably
first
say,
playoff
yeah,
game ever.
yeah,
and
I would say so.
so
He
yeah,
usually quarterbacks to tank, so
it's,
so usually he's nowhere near playoffs. And then Moose, you forgot to put an X on that Saints right there because I did not get that
oh
one
yeah,
there.
the X. I forgot the X on the Saints. I put the gray X on the Texans for the push, but yeah, that the Saints biggest surprise of the last few weeks. That was
Yeah, that was
unexpected.
big upset.
It was Kirk Cousins in a big game, and he delivered.
Yeah. Usually when he plays on Monday night, Thursday nights, any kind of big game, you usually root against him. He just does not do well in the spotlight, especially now going into New Orleans, as we all know, is a very tough place to play. And Drew Brees and the Mike Thomas connection, I mean, pretty healthy overall Saints team. With the loss against Minnesota, definitely did not expect that. I mean, I know there was some stuff you can say where Kyle Rudolph pushed off and whatnot, but I mean, the defense let them drive all the way down to like the 1 yard line at that point. So, I mean, come on. I mean, but the push off was a push off. But regardless, still money purposes, it did not work out my way. And then I chose Texans -3. First half of that game, I was like, yep, I guess I lost my parlay. First game of the weekend, and Texas came back and they ended up pushing it, winning by a field goal in OT. Very surprising. Just like Moose, you were saying last week, poor management, poor, pretty much the poorest. They used to say what the poorest coaching
Oh, that
game you've ever seen.
yeah, and that's a great segue into Moose's picks here because let's talk about that Bills Texans game first. That was oh my gosh, that was one of the most those poorly coached games I've ever seen. I mean, Bills coach is this a first time NFL job for him? I forget who's the Bills coach,
Doug
but
Marrone, is that?
right? I mean, second time
No,
in the
Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott, second time in the playoffs, right? 2 years ago, the Bills made the playoffs, I believe, with Sean
Talking
McDermott.
about Taylor.
Yeah, so Bills, I think, have a little bit of excuse because they kind of have never been here before. Bill O'Brien has no excuse for the way he coached. He goes to the playoffs almost every year with the same Texans team, and the only reason that they won and they're moving on to the second round is because the Bills really effed up in the second half, and most notably, Josh Allen looked like a deer in the headlights. I mean, definition of crapping yourself in the second half. That was Josh Allen. I mean, throwing laterals with 2 minutes left to go in the game, like desperation laterals. I think whoever their offensive play caller is, 4th and 27, and we're going to go for it from midfield when you have 3 timeouts and you're not going to try and pin him. Worst case scenario, they're starting at the 20-yard line. Like, come on. Come on. Just bad coaching all the way. And Bill O'Brien, don't even get me started in the second half, or the first half. Just bad play calling. Got very fortunate that he has a playmaker like Deshaun Watson who escaped 3 people at once with a double spin move and was able to get that first down. Because if that doesn't happen, the game basically is over. Though I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills found a way to lose that one. Really sad about the Bills pick. I was feeling great. That first half, I was like, wow, we nailed the Bills pick. They just got to score maybe once more, which they didn't, to seal that up. Second game of that day on Saturday was that Titans game. I called it with the plus 4.5. Was happy to get that one. I thought that was a little bit of a gift, especially with the spread there. Again, Derrick Henry, just an absolute monster game. I think one of their scoring drives, he was responsible for all 75 yards of that drive on the ground or the air. So again, Tractorcito getting it done for the Titans. And as we preview next week's games, he's got to have a big game to even have a chance against the Ravens. Getting into Sunday's games, oh, that New Orleans Saints game, not only the parlay, but just really destroying the Moose's Monster teaser, because teaser I was okay if the Bills spread, thankfully, so that I would have been okay there, but that Saints loss was brutal. That killed the whole teaser. And I don't even know what to say. I mean, I watched a good chunk of that game, and again, just poor coaching. I just feel very surprised from Sean Payton, who's been here before, why his coaching just, again, conservative and just not good play calling. Drew Brees really did not look great. Speaking of looking his age, he is looking like he is declining quickly. I'm sure he'll be back for one more year for his last hurrah with the Saints, but he did not look great, and the Saints overall just had a rough game. Defense couldn't bail him out. Just a recipe for disaster, and Kirk Cousins looked amazing. I mean, he was dropping literal dimes. I mean, just dropping dimes. Adam Thielen had a great game.
Yeah,
and
especially
that last drive. Holy,
yeah.
What the best throws I've ever seen from that. And of course, I was really excited with the "you like that" in the locker room, bringing back you like that.
At first time he actually did that, it became a meme and a GIF and a internet sensation. Was actually against the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
I want to say the Buccaneers were winning like 24-0 and at halftime, and Lovie Smith did not make any adjustments, but the Redskins did, and they came back and won. And that was the birth of "you like that."
That was a classic Lovie Smith game, and of course we talked about this Saints or the Seahawks Eagles, probably the most boring game of all four. We knew the Seahawks were going to get in there and steamroll. Gave them a little bit of a fight, and it got interesting with Josh McCown a little bit, but Eagles just overmatched, and Carson Wentz and his injury troubles continue to move to plague him. Did you see the Jadeveon Clowney hit?
Yeah, the lower helmet hit. Yeah,
is that not worth a suspension or a fine? Because it's amazing to me. Nothing came of it, and you have.
I wouldn't say suspension. I don't think it was targeted. I think he was just trying to get him when he was down, or trying to get him down. But definitely should have drawn a flag, a penalty, or something. It shouldn't have just been ignored the way it was. If it was a normal fall play, especially in this day and age of the NFL.
Yeah, unbelievable. So those were the picks. Unfortunately, lost my chance to win a couple hundred. I think it was $140 there. I went with the $20 parlay just to make it a little bit interesting. So big loss, a little bit of a loss there. So with that, let's get into next week's games. Some great matchups. Had a couple of teams that have been off for a week, waiting for their matchup in the divisional round. Let's take a look at those. Let's start with the first game of the week. Vikings 49ers. What do you think are the chances the Vikings can take this one?
We're going to talk about these now. We're going to talk about them during our picks.
Well, let's talk about them now. Let's preview the week.
All right. So we got the Minnesota Vikings coming off their second Minnesota miracle, so to speak. Coming in, well, I guess it'd be the New Orleans Purple Rain miracle. Yes, I don't know.
Purple Rain, I like it.
But the traveling to San Francisco off a rested San Francisco 49ers team whose defense has been pretty good 90% of the time last year. Not last year, but I guess technically in 2019. They were a very, very good defense. I don't think this is a game where Minnesota is going to be able to pull this one off. I think this is going to be a game where that defensive line, and it's a great front seven that they have over in San Francisco, is going to be up in Kirk Cousins' face the whole game. Dalvin Cook, he's a very talented running back, might be able to squeeze some yardage there. It's going to rely very heavily on Dalvin Cook in this game, because I think this is one where the defense will take him out. And actually today, during practice, Adam Thielen, I guess, got like some kind of cut in his ankle or something.
I heard about that. They did confirm it was just a surface abrasion or surface cut. So nothing significant, thankfully, for Thielen. But yeah, I saw that earlier today. I'm like, really? This game's already going to be questionable at most. Now, if Thielen is truly out, that's a major weapon that's not there for the Vikings.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, man, because they even said stitches or something. So hopefully it was confirmed no stitches. I don't know what the prognosis was, but it made it seem like it was in jeopardy. Or, even if it's not in jeopardy, he's not gonna be full strength with some stitches on his foot or whatnot.
Right.
Not. But still, I still think this is a game San Francisco wins pretty comfortably, given their defense at home.
I think so, and I think San Francisco, like you said, San Francisco has no problem getting pressure without blitzes. Mm-hmm. And I think we saw last week, New Orleans, I guess, thought that they could make Kirk Cousins uncomfortable by blitzing, but so they blitz a lot, but that just ends up with open receivers, and it just built Kirk Cousins' confidence to be able to dump off and make completions and get out of the pocket. San Francisco does not need to send extra guys to get pressure, so I'm really curious to see how the effect that's going to have on Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, absolutely. So for this game, I think this is a pretty comfortable one for San Francisco to come out here and win. Jimmy Garoppolo is probably not going to have to win the game. He's just going to have to not lose the game pretty much on his end. Then you got the Titans and Ravens. Ravens have just been a great team all around. Special teams, defense, or offense. Lamar Jackson, when he came into this season, everyone questioned him as a passer. The guy's been a great passer. I think only 6 interceptions the whole year, 30 plus touchdowns. He's just had a great completion percentage. He's been just everything that the opposite everyone thought he was going to be this year. Tennessee, as you said earlier, they're probably a bottom half defense. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Lamar Jackson, and that Ravens defense is no joke either, the way they've been playing. I think this is a game the Ravens could win pretty comfortably. It's really going to end up becoming the Derrick Henry show. There's one game that we need Derrick Henry in. It's going to be this one.
And that's what I'm saying what I'm thinking is, my crazy part of me almost wanted to take the Titans on the money line. And here's the reason why, and we'll get to our picks course in a moment, and we can talk to it more specifically. But if the Titans are able to control the game and Derrick Henry's able to be a force, first down after first down, methodical approach, not having to rely on Tannehill to win the game, I think the Titans have a chance. I think they have to find a way to control quarterback play for the Ravens, but I don't know. If they're able to control the time of possession and get the ball out of his hands, I think they have a shot.
I just don't know how they would stop Lamar Jackson. That's the only thing. How do you stop him? No, not many teams been able to stop him, man. in a game like this, even if you do decide to stop them with the passing game, you're going to have him and Mark Ingram. You don't know who's going to run, what option they're going to run.
Mark
It's
Ingram
just,
not at 100% though.
but still, I mean, I just think they can do play action, quarterback bootleg. I mean, there's so many options they have with them. If you stop him in the pass, you're gonna have to stop him with his legs, and it's very difficult to stop both things.
I think what they need to
Um,
do is look at the Chargers tape from last playoffs because
yeah, that was also when Lamar Jackson couldn't throw past 10 yards accurately, and that's what everybody was basing the coming season based on that.
including us.
Yeah, I was completely guilty. He was on my do not draft list in fantasy. He was someone I thought was going to be maybe taken out for like 7 weeks. They would have to replace him. But no, he proved me wrong. He's probably going to win NFL MVP. Well deserving of it. And I'm glad he proved everybody who said he's a running back wrong. So great job, Lamar Jackson. And I think he will be advancing to the next round for sure. And then brings us over to our Texans and Chiefs game. Going back to the regular season, Texans were one of the Chiefs' losses this season. I know they had that loss against the Packers, but that was with Matt Moore starting.
Right.
What was the Chiefs' final record? They were 13-3, right?
Were they 13-3?
I believe so.
Well, I'll take a quick look at that. Go ahead. Let me know what you think about the game. I'll look that up really quick.
Yeah. Yeah, they lost to the Colts, which was like a pretty big upset in their first loss, and then they lost to the Texans like the week right after it. So the Chiefs,
12-4. 12-4.
12-4. Interesting.
There are a lot. Colts, Texans, Packers.
The Packers didn't count because that was Matt Moore.
That doesn't count. Then they lost to.
They
lost to the Titans.
Oh, wow. That's right.
35-32. Yeah, they lost to the Titans in Tennessee.
Wow. So Texans were one of Mahomes' losses. And I remember in that game, I forgot what they did to beat the Chiefs. I think it was one of those games where they just controlled the clock and ran the ball a lot. Kind of did the same thing the Colts did. So, I mean, the Texans do have experience already beating the Chiefs once. Can they repeat that? Possibly, but not in Kansas City. And most likely, what will it be? Like a blizzard or something over there like it was?
I haven't even looked at the weather. I know here in Austin we're supposed to get some nasty weather tomorrow, like tornado type of stuff. In Texas, I'd imagine it's some sort of cold front coming through. Not sure what the weather looks like Sunday in Kansas City, but we'll see. I did hear some interesting statistics today on a few of the podcasts I listened to that Patrick Mahomes struggles against man coverage. And so he's really good against zone coverage. And recently, and they specifically cited the Colts and the Texans wins as both Bill O'Brien and the Colts coach switching to more of a man package versus the zone package. And it brought down the rate of success for plays from 70% to 30% or something like that. And then the average completion, or at least attempt, went from 17 yards to 5 yards.
Wow.
That's some fancy NFL stats there. Some true money ball that's starting to take over the NFL now. But apparently Patrick Mahomes struggles against man coverage. So I'm wondering if... it has to be part of the Texans' game plan.
And we got to check, too, because I know Tyreek Hill had a little bit of an injury. Maybe Tyreek Hill was out those 2 games there. Because, with man coverage, he's going to burn the man almost every single time running the ball. So, I think he may have missed. I don't know who can cover Tyreek Hill there because Mahomes pretty much just throw it up as far as he can. And
Vernon Hargreaves.
Yeah, Vernon Hargreaves could even cover my 3-year-old. Cruz there. But yeah, so it's a game where I don't think that lightning will strike twice in the same place here. I think this is one where the Chiefs will win pretty comfortably, and especially the way that the Texans looked last week, and they continue their coaching strategy from last week over this week. This is a game we'll probably lose by multiple touchdowns. So I definitely think if you're betting here, if feel free to choose the Chiefs as winners. Do they cover the spread? I'll leave that at your own discretion. Then moving on here, we're going to the Seattle
The
Seahawks and the
snoozer. This is a snoozer of a game.
Green Bay Packers. Hey, I remember last time they faced each other in the playoffs. Uh, I want to say Seattle was down by a couple touchdowns. They scored like maybe I want to say like 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, tied up, going to overtime, and they won in overtime to advance to the next round. And it was against Green Bay. So Green Bay and Seattle always have pretty good games when they play each other. So this might not be a snoozer as bad as you think, but also we got to remember this is at the frozen tundra, and at this time of the year, Lambeau is an extremely hard place to play. So, so what are your thoughts on this game, Bruce?
Well, my thoughts are that the Packers are frauds, and they have not been good this year. I think they've been, and I know 13-3. It's hard. That's a hard selling point for our
And
audience.
we went through the schedule, I want to say, like last week, and
It
we
was
saw
easy schedule.
any tough opponent
They played
lost
the
to.
Chiefs without Mahomes. I mean,
There's one.
they played the NFC North, so they got to play the Bears twice and the Lions twice. I mean, it was an easy schedule for them. I'm looking up at they could have snow in Green Bay. Let me see the 10-day forecast. Sunday, partly cloudy.
I mean, they got destroyed when they played the 49ers.
Yeah, they lost to the
Lions.
Chargers. They lost
Right.
to the Chargers.
And they barely beat the Lions. They had to go down into the last minute field goal kicking to beat the Lions to even clinch the bye week. You're right. They lost to the Chargers 11-26. And then their other loss came against another, like, probably a good team. Who was it that they? Oh, actually, no, not a great team. Well, they lost to the Eagles 34-27.
So yeah, Sunday night they have a 40% chance of snow. You got 20 degrees with a wind chill in the low teens. So, yeah.
I think that's going to make it pretty hard. Well, I mean, I want to say it's going to make it pretty hard for them, but then we also got to consider that Russell Wilson did go to the University of Wisconsin, so
He NC State. Come on, that's an NC State guy.
he went to Wisconsin. That's where he took him to the Rose Bowl.
Cold weather's down his blood. I'd be curious to see the statistics of cold weather games for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I'll give him an advantage in rain playing in Seattle, but cold weather, I don't know if I'd be curious to see his cold weather statistics.
I wouldn't count him out, man. I mean, Russell Wilson, I mean, that guy is like Houdini when it comes to a blitz. He knows how to escape that really well. So, I mean, I just think that the secondary of the Seahawks is pretty suspect, and Aaron Rodgers might have the opportunity to pick that apart. I would probably take the Packers to win this game.
And you did, because we got your picks up here. Take us through them quickly. I know we covered the games and kind of alluded to who we picked, but here they are.
All right, like I said, I got the San Francisco 49ers against the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, this one, the Vikings defense can show up, may not show up. They come as they please this season so far. Dalvin Cook might be a force in this game. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders, glad he's healthy. So I went ahead and took the 49ers. Didn't feel extremely comfortable with the spread, but I feel confident in the 49ers winning. So I went ahead and took the 49ers on the money line on this one. And then I got the Texans. Not the Texans.
So,
the Titans.
So you're not feeling the 7.
I just don't feel comfortable with it. After seeing how the Vikings played last week at New Orleans, I don't feel comfortable with the spread. I'm pretty comfortable with the 49ers will win this game, whether it be by a field goal or whether it be by 7 or whether it be whatever it may be. But I just know they're going to win, but I just don't know about the spread. And then I went over to pick the Titans plus 10 against the Ravens. The way the Titans have been playing, I mean, like we saw a few moments ago, they did beat the Chiefs. I think they beat some pretty good teams this year. They beat the Patriots last week in Gillette Stadium. As we all know, that is no walk in the park going to New England in a playoff type of atmosphere. So, I mean, the way they've been playing, I mean, I think that they're not going to win this game. I'm still pretty confident in what I just said about the Ravens winning the game. but I think they may be able to keep it close. I think they're going to surprise it a little bit. The Ravens probably going to come out on top, but they may be able to keep it within that 10 points or so. So I took the not Texans, but Titans within that 10-point spread. Then we got the Packers. Like I said, the weather is just not very favorable to Seattle. Lambeau is a very tough place to play, especially this time of the year. And as suspect as I am about sorry about that, plugging in my computer here to the cord's about to die here and go off air since we've been running pretty smooth for once.
No technical difficulties today, knock on wood.
Knock on wood. But anyways, I think that's something Aaron Rodgers could pick apart. Aaron Jones, their running back, has been playing really well this year. I believe he led the NFL in rushing touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel pretty comfortable with the Green Bay -4. And then we got the Chiefs. Since they did lose to the Texans earlier this year, Bill O'Brien, I don't know if he hasn't figured it out or not. I just don't think they're going to win in Kansas City. The game that they won was, I believe it was in Houston, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right or wrong? No, I think it might be in Tennessee. I think they lost to the Colts and the Texans in Kansas City. I remember that being
Texans might have. I think Texans was away.
Texans away. Okay. So I mean, playing in Kansas City with that Arrowhead Stadium fan base and as loud as that stadium gets, along with the weather, and Deshaun Watson not being very, very big on the cold weather, not really his where he's from, and not what he's used to playing, especially being in the dome. I think the Chiefs are going to be able to edge this game out. So those are my picks on my $10 parlay. I will not be rich if I win this one. And I'm not even be able to buy a video game. But, hey, I'll be $47 richer.
Yes, $47.18 on the $10. Of course, it's just playing it safe with our standings right now. Of course, you can see the standings scrolling down below. We'll probably do a recap show as we get into the Super Bowl or the game after the Super Bowl, the show after the Super Bowl. Go over our picks for the year and give ourselves a percentage as we retire $10 sports for the season. Let's move over to Moose's $20 parlay of the week, stepping it up to $20 for this one. And I too was not adventurous. I did, however, take San Francisco with the spread. I think Minnesota's going to collapse and San Francisco's going to take it to them. I think their defense is going to dominate, and Kirk Cousins is going to play like the Kirk Cousins we all know and love in big games. So I think San Francisco easily covers that by one touchdown, if not more. Ravens.
So you don't like that? You don't.
I don't like that. I liked it. I didn't really like it last week, but I wasn't sad to see an underdog win. I think destiny is San Francisco, Baltimore again, because that was one of the games of the year this year. And I'd love to see it again in the Super Bowl. So Ravens, I'm taking straight up. I don't like big spreads. If I were to take the spread, I would have also jumped on the Titans +10, but I think I'm just going to play it safe here and have the Ravens win. This is also a game where, kind of how when we were talking about the games, Baltimore could just really jump to a quick lead, and if they're going to take the run away and put 9 in the box, good luck to Ryan Tannehill beating the Ravens defense. Chiefs, again, I don't like the big spreads. I think that one was at 9.5. You never know if the Texans, I think they will play better than last week. And it's going to depend on the snow. We probably should look up the weather for Kansas City. I think Kansas City gets to the championship game at least, especially after the disappointment last year with D Ford lining up offside and costing Kansas City a chance to advance. And Packers, like you, -4. I think they take care of the Seahawks as much as I believe that they are an inferior team. Playing in Lambeau is special. See, I think it's going to be San Francisco, Green Bay. It's going to be the 1 and 2 seeds on both sides, which I love seeing an underdog in there. But for the sake of the $10 parlay of the week, I don't want to see any underdogs win at all. Moose's Monster Teaser. We love the teasers. You saw when we were going over the games that you couldn't do a same game parlay on for whatever reason, the 49ers and the Vikings, even though the spread, I guess, was only 10, or that was the 9.5, or the 7-point spread. So I don't understand why they weren't letting us do same game parlays on those. So the over under for that game is not included, but I did a sweetheart teaser because I just kind of want to win. So it was a 10-point buy. So the 49ers go to +3, Titans go to +20, Chiefs go to +1/2. So the Chiefs just got to win. Seattle goes to +14. And this is where it gets tricky. I think the over-unders get a little tricky for this game. I get under 57 for the Titans-Ravens, which I feel pretty confident in. I'm going to take over 41.5 for Texans-Chiefs. And then over 37, which I think is going to be my problem game, for the Seahawks and Packers. So we'll see what happens there. I think I put... I don't even remember how much I put in this. Maybe $20 to win 150 or something like that. If this hits, we'll report that out on my Twitter at the sport with the Sports Moose _TSH. Mike, did you want to talk about? You kind of have a teaser going on over under on a few of your games.
Yeah, just don't have it really written down. Just because Bovado, for some reason, after you choose them, they don't.
Yeah, they take the team names. But that's okay.
Yeah, which kind of annoying.
We'll go over the over unders that I have for divisional. So these are the standard lines. So right now it's 44 for Vikings, 49ers, 47 for both the Titans, Ravens, and Seahawks, Packers, and then 51.5 for the Texans. Last week, all the unders hit. It was all the unders hit for all 4 games. Kind of a low-scoring wildcard weekend. I'm going under for most of these games, but I am liking the over for the Kansas City Texans game.
Yeah.
Weather permitting, but
both have bad passing defenses, so yeah.
I think that's going to be a little bit of a shootout there. I think I like the under 47 for the Titans Ravens because I'm assuming that Derrick Henry will hopefully control a little bit of the clock. I think both offenses have struggled with Seattle and Green Bay enough that I think they're going to cancel each other out and hopefully be under 47. And I think I don't know if I like the under 44 for Vikings San Francisco because I feel that this is a game that could potentially get out of hand, and then Minnesota could maybe score some garbage points, and they're going to hit the over on that one. Then I'm going to be really angry, but it is what it is. What are your thoughts?
I pretty much have the same picks as you. The only difference is on mine, I chose the over 44 on the Vikings.
I think that's a safe pick. Now that I think about it, I'm like, man, maybe I should have taken the over because I really think the game's going to get a little out of hand. And if your spread is 7, the total's got to be over 44. But
I can see like a 31-24 game.
Yep, something like that.
35-24. I can see something like that. I don't see it being like a 20-14 game against San Francisco and Minnesota. I don't see that.
So we will see how that goes. And I think that brings us to the end of our show. We appreciate you guys. Just quickly make sure, catch us on YouTube. Remember, the Sports Heap now is the channel. And then make sure to listen to our podcast, now available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Nice ending to episode 16. If you're on our channel, of course, subscribe or hit that like button. And as always, it's been great to see you here. It's been Moose and MRod with the Sports Heap. Have a great night. We'll see you.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter. We will see you after for championship weekend. Take care.
Have a good night.